Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from high atop the Park Shore Condominium Tower at Lakeshore Drive and the Chicago River. This is Tom Besor coming to you live with Bridge Lift Saturday. It's an amazing sight, an amazing but sad sight, because it's the end of the season and it's time for sailboats to go up the river back home to their winter quarters. These boats have a long journey ahead of them. It's going to take most of the day to pass through not only this first bridge, Lakeshore Drive, but they'll be passing through 16, 18 bridges in the downtown area, all the way from Lakeshore Drive through Columbus, Michigan Avenue, Wabash, State, Dearborn, Clark, LaSalle. Lots of bridges for these boats to go through. And if you want to see the action live, you've got plenty of time to come downtown, because as I say, it takes a long time. They open these bridges in sequence, one after the other, and the city workers hop from bridge to bridge in those white vans. It's quite the spectacle, and if you've never seen it, today would be a beautiful day. Yes, it's cold out here. It's a brisk, 49 degrees, with the wind chill probably in the 30s, but that sun makes all the difference in the world. It's actually a beautiful day today. And this is my view, my vista from my perch high atop the Park Shore condominium building. You're looking now at the Chicago locks, which separate the lake from the river, and I see a sailboat still in the locks, so they better open that soon so that sailboat can participate in the journey upriver. That tells me it's going to be a little while before the bridge actually lifts. If you look carefully, you can see that the other side of the locks is not yet closed, and they need to do that before they open the river side. So it's kind of fascinating to watch all this happen. I've had the pleasure of going through those locks many occasions on different boats. You can do it on a tour boat or a power boat or a sailboat during these passages. But it's quite an amazing sight. But boy, those guys must be cold out there, and they have a long journey ahead of them. Most of them have good hot coffee. If they're smart, they have some Irish coffee and some chili or some Bloody Marys. This trip is much more enjoyable in the springtime when they're bringing the boats into the lake. But it's a sad fact of our geography that these boats can't stay through the winter. But look, there's still plenty of boats in DuSable Harbor. So a lot of these boats, well, a lot of the power boats, they don't need the bridge lift. And some of these boats go down the lake towards the Calumet River on the south and go in there. So they don't all need to go through the locks. And I'm happy to see there's still a lot of boats here. But this is one of the saddest views in the city after all the boats are gone, because we know we've got 4 to 6 months of garbage, wintry weather ahead of us. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the beautiful sunny day that it is today. You've got a great view of Navy Pier out there in the background. Have some guests visiting from Canada this weekend, and so we went out to Navy Pier the other day, and we went to the offshore rooftop bar, which is towards the end of the pier. And boy, was that a lot of fun. They were priceless drinks, and priceless in the way that they were quite expensive, but they've got pool tables and just a lot of neat stuff out there. So if you haven't had a chance to go out to the offshore rooftop bar at Navy Pier, it would be great to get out there. And it's covered. There's a large covered area, so don't think that you'll be all outdoors. And now that tourist season is generally over, that would be quite the pleasant experience as we had the other day. But glorious view, looking to the north, Lake Point Tower there, 474 Lakeshore Drive, and the new One Bennett Park high-rise. So lucky to have such a beautiful skyline here in Chicago to enjoy. This is my world. And then down below here, I'm getting a new neighbor. Don't get dizzy as I show you this, but see that big yellow crane? That's about 100 feet tall right now. It looks tiny from the 56th floor. I'm about 550 feet above ground level right now on the top of this roof. And so we're looking down at that 100-foot tower. And you can see on the ground is the tower's boom. And that's going to be lifted today I think today. Looks like they're well along in their assembly. It's like a giant erector set. And I look out of my second floor window at that scene, and I really feel like I'm a part of the action. It's sad that most of my view is going to disappear with the construction of that building, but it's also very fascinating to me to watch all these dozens of workers down there. And they're working on half a dozen different projects at the same time. Some are doing the electrical, some are doing the plumbing, some are building the tower. They just finished drilling, 50, 75 caissons in the ground down there. It was nuts, just digging hole after hole after hole after hole. And we really had to leave during the day while that work took place because it was just noisy and obnoxious. But that phase of the work is over, and now they're going to be working on the base of the building, and then slowly, one floor at a time, that thing's going to build up. There's actually going to be 3 buildings on that tiny little lot. They're building 2 now. One is a condo tower and one is apartments. And then the third building up in the corner by the bridge, that will be a super tall and super expensive condo tower. So got a lot of construction activity going on in Chicago. Our kind of town. We take a lot of flack in the media, and we do have our share of challenges here in my great city. But we also have our share of wonderful stuff going on. Oh, I'm detracting from my mission up here. The bridge is going up. So let me see if I can zoom in and give you that view. This is a famous Lakeshore Drive bridge. When it was built, it was the longest and heaviest bascule bridge ever. And those of you who are older or those of you who are fans of history know that another name for this bridge is FDR Bridge. And we don't typically call it that today because a lot of this history has been forgotten. But Franklin Delano Roosevelt cut the ribbon when that bridge was first opened. And it was there that FDR gave his quarantine speech prior to the outset of World War II. And so it's known as FDR Bridge to a lot of people. I hope I got that history right. Look it up on the internet. So now the boats are racing to go in before the bridge drops. And guess what? We got a little bit of an issue here because this sailboat, he's going to have to book. They're just now opening the locks on the river side. Before I was mentioning that the lakeside doors were not closed, but yes, now those lakeside doors are shut and they're opening the riverside. But it's going to be a few minutes before those gates are fully opened and the boats get the all clear to boogie. But that sailboat there, the third one from the front, he's going to have to hustle to catch up to his friends, because if he gets through those locks after this bridge drops, I don't think they're going to open it again for him. And the poor motorists on Lakeshore Drive, they've had traffic shut now for about 20 minutes while they prepare this. But now it's open and they're going through. So I got kind of an interesting story to tell you. There was a fire down there this week. Just to the right of the bridge, you see the yellow boom. That's a containment boom to prevent debris from leaving the fire site. But some contractors were working on the pilings that protect the bridge. You can see one of the pilings there on the left. They were removing the cap to that piling, the one on the right-hand side of the bridge. And they got the bright idea to use heat and torches to do so. And they set that sucker on fire. And the fire was going on for, hours, 3 to 4 hours. They couldn't get it out. They had the fireboat over here. They had fire trucks on land, and they were just dousing that sucker with water, but it was a stubborn fire and created a lot of smoke. This was just this past week. So, now we have yet another tale of adventure on the Chicago River. Notice only half the bridge is open, the north half. I find it much more interesting when they open both sides of the bridge. And I don't know why they don't open both sides of the bridge. Maybe it's because of construction. Oh yeah, I know they're working on down there on the bridge. They're always working on the bridges, but they have some major construction on one of the lower decks. But look at that guy in the orange suit walking across the street. How would you like that job, to be monitoring the boats going through the river? Isn't this cool? So as I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in this and you want to see it in person, today is the perfect day. Head on downtown because this adventure is going to be taking place for the next 3 hours. They got a lot of bridges to go through. And as it happens, the Windy City Explorers is doing a walk today at 1 o'clock. We're meeting at the McCormick Bridge House Museum on the Riverwalk. So on the South Riverwalk at 1 p.m., we've got about 50 people signed up to go on a what I'm calling the loop walk. We're going to walk along the Riverwalk to the west as far as we can to Wacker Drive, and then we're going to walk down the South Branch on the Riverwalk all the way to Union Station where the Riverwalk terminates. And then we're going to head into the loop, and I'm going to share some very fascinating history of some very classical buildings downtown Chicago. So that's at 1 o'clock today. You can find it on our Windy City Explorers meetup page, or just go to windycityexplorers.com and navigate your way to the meetup page and the event site, and we would love to have you. So notice all these boats that were ready have gotten through the bridge. There's the last one. And now the drama that I'm bringing you, live stream drama on Facebook, is that you can see the door to the locks is completely open on the riverside. And that's a sign that these boats that are still in the locks are going to soon depart the wall. They can't leave until they're given the signal by the lockmaster. You may or may not hear the horn when it blows off, and that'll signal the boats to race forward. And I hope that sailboat can make it in time. He was just a little tardy this morning. There may be more than one sailboat down there. I definitely see one. It's a large sailboat. It's the third boat from the left. But then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boats in the locks. I can't really tell with my eyesight if those others are sailboats. But do you think they're going to hold up traffic? Oh, I just heard the horn. So now you're going to see these boats boogie. He's going to go full throttle and try to make it before that darn bridge closes. Boy, the inconvenience to thousands of drivers. I hope you're not one of the lucky ones stuck on Lakeshore Drive this morning, because it really is a nuisance. Oh, there's several sailboats in there. Now I'm seeing the masts, and yeah, they're going fast. The first two charging forward. They're like, wait for me, don't close that bridge. So thankfully it looks like they're going to leave the bridge open another 10 minutes by the time all these boats get in here. I hope you're enjoying this video. I hope you leave me some comments. I know it's a little jittery, but that's because I've got it zoomed in quite a bit, and that amplifies the shakiness. And also I'm just hand holding the tripod apparatus because I want to be able to move back and forth. And if I attach this thing, it doesn't give me that degree of flexibility. But yeah, look at all these sailboats. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 sailboats at least, and then some power boats mixed in with them. And they're racing. they're racing to get to that bridge before it drops. I don't know why they didn't wait. Why didn't they wait to lift the bridge until all the boats were ready? Why didn't they wait? Because that would have made much more sense. And maybe the dock master is not speaking to the bridge lift tenders. A couple other things you see down there in the center of your screen is the life-saving station, which has been there for over 100 years. Saved a lot of lives out of that station. Today it's a very modern facility. You can see there's a helipad down there. And then you've got a couple of fireboats. The Christopher Wheatley is the one on the left. That's the newest fireboat. And earlier we were treated to them testing their fire hoses. And so we got to see that spectacle. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 sailboats racing to get to that bridge. It's much more enjoyable to see this in person at the river level, because then you get to wave at the sailors going by and sometimes even chat with them. You see this one boat just kind of hanging there, and that's what they do after they go through each bridge. They just kind of hang around and wait for the next bridge to open. So he's standing there waiting for Columbus Drive. And the others you can't see because these buildings are in my way. Let me zoom out a little bit. Go back to my broad vista. Speaking of vista, this is the Vista Tower, where I can get you a beautiful condo for less than $1 million. It's $1,000 a square foot to get in there. And they've almost got the whole building finished, the skin of it anyway. It'll be another year before they finish out the interiors. But that's a really cool building. I can't wait to go in. They're going to have a public hotel, some restaurants, and some really nice amenities with that building. It's one of the things I love about my job as a real estate broker. I get to go in all these buildings. You're looking at my office, and each one is more magnificent than the last. They all have really cool amenity floors, some on the rooftop, some on the ground floor, some halfway up the building. You see the Hancock building there in the middle? That's got a 44th floor amenity deck where there's a beautiful swimming pool and exercise area. It's really fun to go in there. And the condos are not that expensive in the Hancock Tower. And if you can't afford to buy one, you can rent one. There's just so many cool opportunities to live downtown Chicago. Chantal and I love it down here. There's always something happening. Like this view we're looking at right now. Isn't that crazy? Oh, and speaking of crazy, there really is a race. I don't know if you can tell. These boats are really booking. So now the full picture is upon me. I can see them better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sailboats in your picture right there, racing to go through the bridge. This is really cool. I've never done this before. So thank you for watching. I hope you leave me a comment. That's why I do this. I'm making this video as a point of interest so that you might find it fascinating and leave me a comment. And as we're talking, and I'm at the top of your mind, maybe you can remember somebody that would like to buy a condo. So that's the whole point of this. Oh, is that a 7th sailboat? He's really behind. The guy just leaving the locks now. He's dragging a dinghy behind him. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to zoom in too much because the picture loses a lot of its clarity as I zoom in further, and also the shakiness amplifies quite a bit when I zoom in. I'm using the iPhone 10, not the new 11, but the iPhone 10, which has got a pretty amazing camera. And then I'm using this program called Switcher Studio to actually broadcast a live stream. I can go live to Facebook, YouTube. I can go live to any website. It's kind of fun. So this is the race. The race through the big Lakeshore Drive Bridge. Now, do you see the big patch of land to the right of the bridge and just in front of Lake Point Tower? That big patch of land is going to be DuSable Park. And it's going to be another magnificent park space once they complete 400 Lakeshore Drive. Now, right in the center of your screen, to the left of Lakeshore Drive, is a big hole in the ground, and that's the former Spire site. And now we call it 400 Lakeshore Drive. And there is a proposal to put 2 massive towers on that tiny little parcel of land. And it's called 400 Lakeshore Drive, and the architecture is just amazing. You can see the model and photos and floor plans of that thing if you go to the Chicago Architecture Center on Wacker Drive near Michigan. They've got beautiful pictorial representation of the proposal for 400 Lakeshore Drive. But that's pretty far from reality right now. They're not even doing any groundwork over there. I don't know that they've specified when it's going to begin. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. And these sailors are very happy that the bridge is staying open for them. And this one straggler, he's really pressing his luck. He better go full throttle and catch up. So please leave me a comment. Better yet, come to our walk at 1 o'clock. Again, meeting at the McCormick Bridge House Museum in front of it, right on the Riverwalk. It's going to be a beautiful day. Just wear your hat and mittens. Bring a thermos of Irish coffee. We're going to have a ball. We're going to do about a 3-mile walk along the river into the loop and then returning back to the McCormick Bridge House Museum. It's a glorious day for this. And it's about time you come down and join one of our Windy City Explorer walks. You see them on Facebook all the time, and now's your chance to become a participant. That's my commercial for the day. So coming up, I have one more site to show you. Stay tuned. I've got a surprise for you in just a few minutes. When I conclude this broadcast, I'm going to show you a cool scene that a lot of you have seen already, but it's kind of fascinating. All these boats waiting for their owners. Look at that. And then my favorite boat of all, the Columbia Yacht Club ship, which used to be a ferry serving Prince Edward Island. This was like 35 years ago. If you have never heard the history of that ship, I'd be pleased to tell you. So call me up and I'll invite you over for a drink at the bar, and I'll tell you the fascinating history of Columbia Yacht Club. That's where I learned to sail. I learned to sail on the ship that goes nowhere. And there's a story about that too that I'd love to share with you. So take me up on my invitation. I'll even bring you up here if you're into photography or videography and you want a chance to see the view from up here. I'm happy to show this to you in person. But you got to call me up. You got to reach out to me individually. Facebook is great for group interaction. But I like to use both Facebook and Meetup. I like to use that as an excuse to get off the internet. And it's quite effective in that regard. Chantal and I started the Windy City Explorers in 2009 with 2 members, she and I. And we used the internet as our platform, as our calendaring system, to produce nearly 500 events over the past 10 years. 500 events. Is that crazy? And from 2 people that started that group, we now have, I think, 8,300 on our mailing list. So God bless the internet for giving us the platform we need to reach out to others. And we've had so many friendships made as a result of that meetup group and this Facebook page. We've had marriages. I don't think we've had any divorces, but we've had marriages among our group. It's a great non-dating platform. Okay, so the bridge is starting to go down. If you look carefully, that last boat made it through, and the bridge is going down. It's been the road has been closed now for, I don't know, 40 minutes. So you don't want to find yourself on Lakeshore Drive when there's a bridge lift. And bridge lifts occur seasonally during the fall season now and in the spring season. And they occur on Wednesdays and Saturdays to allow these boats to go up and down the river. So there it goes, very slowly. I want to mention one other thing. I'm preparing a new event for Halloween, Thursday, October 31st. I'm going to produce an event called The Dark Lore of the Chicago River. What you may not know is that there are probably a dozen stories of calamities that have occurred on or related to the Chicago River. And what better day than Halloween to share that history with you? So stay tuned for our Halloween event, which may actually be on a boat. If I play my cards right, I may be able to secure us a vessel. But in any case, I'm going to do a Halloween event called The Haunted Dark Lore of the Chicago River. And that's going to be one of our greatest events. So stay tuned for that. Reach out to me if you want full details. And don't miss it. Bring your trick-or-treat bag. Okay, so the excitement's about over. Almost as exciting as watching paint dry if you're not into this kind of thing. But those of us in the maritime hobby or industry really enjoy these kind of bridge lifts. So there you have it. And now it's going to take them another 15 or 20 minutes to tidy up that bridge, get all the latches secure so it doesn't pop open, and then they're going to let traffic back on. But I'm not going to bore you waiting for that to happen. But you can see a few of the boats between the slats of the buildings. Can you see that? I count 3 sailboats in between the gaps there. It's such a cool view from this rooftop. And then that Vista building is really exciting to me. I hope the wind noise is not too great here. It's quite windy and cold up here. I'm about ready to freeze, but I do have that producer's sock on the microphone, so it should be shielding much of the wind noise. So here's something I might do, and I'd like to ask your opinion on it. It's about 39, 40 degrees out here, and look at that swimming pool, just waiting for me to jump in. Would you swim in that pool on the 56th floor of a high-rise in very windy conditions? The pool's open. It's available for use. There's nothing stopping me from jumping in that swimming pool. And the temperature of that pool is probably about 80 degrees. So the water's warm. You can see, well, I can see, I don't know if you can see, but there's steam coming off. It's like a giant hot tub. So I'm thinking about jumping in that pool. What is your vote? Let's take a poll. Should Tom go swimming in the rooftop pool of the Park Shore when it's less than 40 degrees outside? I think I might do it. I've got some time before the walk, and I'm not going to go live while I'm in there. I may get somebody to take my picture, but it'd be crazy to go in that water. It'd be even crazier to film it. But this is my rooftop here at the Park Shore. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along. This video production would be a lot less interesting if you were not here to watch it. And I hope I'm getting some viewers. It's kind of cool. So please leave me a comment. I want to see 1,000 comments on this video. Your input is important to me, because if nobody posts any comments, I'm going to wonder if you're really watching. Okay, come down at 1 o'clock to the McCormick Bridge House and participate in our walk on the Windy City Explorers Loop Walk. Go to windycityexplorers.com, navigate your way to the event site, sign up, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock, and you can see some of these bridge lifts up close. Take care. Have a great Saturday.